Yes, I am blowing my nose. And I will continue to blow my nose. In the mornings, everybody, when they wake up, they need to blow their nose, they need to pee, and they need to poo. They need to get everything out of their body that the body processed the night before. In a perfect world, well, not really a perfect world, if you have a schedule to where you're sleeping between 5 or 6 hours, and I know people sometimes are on like third shift, or they're working midnights to then like 8 a.m. or 10 a.m., which is like difficult because it's opposite of everybody else and opposite of what your body naturally, has been doing for many, many years prior to your job. You will need to release excess. Okay. So your body, when it releases mucus, it is filtering everything out that it doesn't need. It's the excess. Okay. Prior to doing J juice, you guys have been mischaracterizing and mishandling your symptoms. You have been taking like Mucinex, you've been demonizing all of your symptoms. You've been embracing the aging process as if it's something to be proud of. And then you wonder why it is that you trigger cancer, disease, and chronic illness, and why then your issues will then threaten your livelihood. Okay? And so the J juice is attempting to now switch everything up on you. Okay? We need not to embrace the aging process or going gray. We need to embrace mucus and what it stands for. Okay? Because I change environments. Let's say when I go to bed at night, I change the environment from going downstairs to upstairs into my bedroom, from sitting upright to laying down, from eating my yogurt with nuts to then pooping the next morning any excess. Some of you that prior to the J juice are releasing all of your, well, not all, but most of your nutrients, and you're not absorbing it, and that's why you're triggering the aging process. You have malabsorption. But on the J juice, you're going to be visiting mucus. It's going to be your friend. And then after you reverse all your issues, you're going to be constantly adapting to every single, whatever food you're eating, to whatever environment you're going out to. I just went outside to take my dog out because she needs to pee and poo too, because she has the same system that I do for the most part. And then I go from inside to outside, and guess what? My nose runs. And guess what? I don't demonize it. I try to get as much mucus as I can in the morning before I get on Facebook Live, but this is where I perform at my best, is in the morning. If I have anything I need to say throughout the day, then I'll come on, Facebook Live throughout the day and say stuff. But in the mornings, I'm a morning person. I go to bed relatively early, I guess. And then I will then get up really early and have fresh thoughts of the day, and then go about my business and doing whatever it is I do. Okay, when I drink coffee, there are a lot of minerals in the coffee. Yes, it is an accelerant, or it triggers the adrenaline in the body, but it's not like a heavy drug where it's like an amphetamine. No, this is just regular coffee. And then guess what? I may get mucus because I have excess minerals coming out that the body doesn't need. My body is working efficiently 24/7. So I always have a tissue or a sock or a handkerchief, I guess, because you never know when you're going to have to blow your nose. Okay, if I go out and go to the mall, or go to a friend's house, or go to the store with my husband or myself, or I go into a grocery store, or I go and walk my dog, I always have some kind of something to blow my nose, because I'm always changing environments. Always. And sometimes you're breathing in minerals and bacteria that the body doesn't need. And guess what? Guess how your body is able to filter it out without you having to go to the bathroom every 24/7? Oh, it's called blowing your nose. That's why I don't have my lymphatic system all backed up and stagnated like most of you guys that have cancer in your lymph nodes. You know why? Because your body isn't releasing, because you're not letting it. But guess what? I'm allowing my body to release the excess bacteria, excess minerals, excess acids. While those of you who are demonizing, hey John, who are demonizing the mucus, you guys are accumulating it, and guess what? It's causing you the aging process. It's causing you cancer, disease, and chronic illness. It's causing you bitterness. So yesterday, yes, I released 2 people off my Facebook, 2 who have been on my Facebook for the longest time. One, I've been intermittently letting on and getting them off my Facebook, letting them on, because I'm trying to give them a chance. But I have too many activists that are still stuck in their whole idea that they think the government and the corporations are out to kill them. So I can't help those people. They're going to have to do the J-juice or not, or they're going to stay in their activism, and that's fine. Another one, she used to be my moderator a long time ago, way in the beginning, when I had everybody just having a freaking field day with me. And she's still anti-vax, and she hangs out mostly with the trolls. When you hang out mostly with people who are naysaying, which I could not even imagine what it'd be like to sit in a group where somebody is constantly bashing in one person and still be able to handle it and take it, and doing the J-juice only a little bit. Well, if it walks like a duck and it talks like a duck, it's a duck, okay? You are who you hang out with. And then person can say, oh, well, I don't really like them. I'm just trying to show them the way. No, sorry. If you don't like your friends, then you don't like yourself. Why do you hang out with people that bash somebody to that extent? Because I'm telling you, the people who hate J-juice, they're evil. They're mean. Like, seriously, they are. And to have somebody that does the J-juice sit in a group and completely just absorb all that negative energy, and then try to attempt to tell me that I should change my time of doing the Facebook Live so that way I don't sound so mucusy. See you later, bye. I'm not demonizing anybody's natural process. No, I'm not going to show you me doing my pooping and my peeing in the morning, but I don't mind being mucusy if it comes up, because that's something that you guys need to get used to. And if you see me mucusy in the morning, then maybe you guys should be too, and should embrace it and not demonize it. Don't demonize your symptoms. But you guys, some of you guys do demonize your symptoms, and you're taking everything under the sun to stop the pain, to stop all the stuff that you don't want to feel, uncomfortable. And then it's totally, completely the antithesis of the J-juice. Like, seriously, completely the antithesis. Okay, and so I know who doesn't understand J-juice, because they're bitching about their symptoms. They can't seem to waterfall, and they talk about all of their weaknesses as if the J-juice caused it or something. I already know who's gonna make it on J-juice and who isn't, just by simply the fact by just looking at their politics today, because they have access to the J-juice, but they're not doing it at the level that they should, and they're too busy being an activist, too busy trying to prove and defend J-juice, when J-juice needs no defense, because you can't force somebody to learn something they're not even willing to even open their mind at the possibility. Okay, so I definitely did put my foot down yesterday, and finally just now forever blocked the 2 people that I've allowed on my Facebook for a while. Because yeah, the other guy, I'm talking about the whole thing with the chemtrails. Okay, now I have no idea really to what extent so there's 2 ways to look at chemtrails, contrails. Okay, those are the 2 ways, chemtrails or contrails. Is it intention, or is it a byproduct of a plane just going through the sky? Did it happen way back when? Yeah, I've seen the lines in the sky way back when I was a kid in the pool. Okay, but for some reason now people are noticing it more. Okay, but do we actually know the intention behind it? And all it is, when you think about chemicals are just minerals. Chemicals are basically elements and minerals. That's all they are. Okay, if they were poisonous, we'd all be dead. If it was really truly like a gas chamber, we'd all be dead. Okay, so if you have a very, very efficient body like I do, I can go outside. Yes, there'll be like pollution, as someone would say, because they deem anything that comes out of a plane or out of a smokestack, out of a refinery as pollution, because they make that correlation that their weaknesses are based upon the pollution in the environment. But in reality, it's their weaknesses. But when I go outside and I blow my nose, that's my body adapting to the environment. Now, am I going to go into a garage with the car running with all the windows closed and then breathe in carbon monoxide? Oh, hell no, because I have common sense. Am I going to drink Drano and prove that my body can adapt to Drano? No, I have common sense. Anything that is a food, or I go out my environment that already has watchdogs making sure, for the most part, that it's safe for the general population, I will adapt to the changing conditions. From summer to fall, from fall to winter, from winter to spring, the body has to adapt. And just watch your animals when your animals are going through the adaptation process too, from summer to fall. My dog went through the adaptation process. Her skin was affected during that adaptation process, and now her skin is great. Her body is adjusting. That's the same thing with my body and all of your bodies if you actually allow it to do what it needs to do instead of demonizing every single aspect of it because it doesn't feel comfortable. It's not glamorous. It was not glamorous to have a symptom. So I'm going to go and anesthetize myself with drugs and alcohol and everything else. No, but my dog, she went through the adaptation process. It's tough to watch because, yeah, it seems like they're sick and everything is wrong. No, it's just the body going through its adaptation process. It's not something to demonize, but in the allopathic holistic world, people demonize their symptoms and then they apply therapies that compound the problem. And guess what? Drug therapy is a therapy. Psychotherapy is a therapy. Trauma therapy is a therapy. And it's done on bodies that have no business going through that second reinfection because they already have a weak body, a weak mind, a weak body, mind, and spirit. And when you have a weak body, mind, and spirit, you think all that therapy is actually helping you? No, it's actually compounding and accelerating your aging process. But oh, it feels good. That's the whole justification of why people do therapies. It feels good. Well, sex feels good. Doing drugs feels good, but is it really good for you? If you're going to have any therapy to manage your healing process, you got to have the J juice really in conjunction. No one should be doing any kind of therapy without actually having a support system such as the right chemistry to give your vessel the right components to handle that reinfection of therapy, because therapy is basically reinfection of past and present and future traumas. That's all therapy is. Okay? So, you know, your body has to adapt and it has to go through its processes. And even when you are healed and sealed like I am, I still have to adapt to the changing environment. Yes, I just snarked up mucus. Whoop-de-doo. If you're offended by that, then get off my Facebook Lives. Stop downloading my videos and showing them to all of your friends and then making fun of them when you're actively aging and degrading, dealing with cancer disease and chronic illness, and bashing somebody for the fun of it as well as in your daily life, because that shows that you are imbalanced. And so when this chick, Lorraine, is telling me that people are saying, oh, you know, you snarking on Facebook Live is like basically a hard sell, because then it's like you saying that when you're aging, you have no business helping people and all this stuff. I'm sorry, but when you are aging and decaying, that's not healthy. Mucus is healthy. Get it right. But she hasn't been following me because she stays over in the troll group and hasn't been following my videos. And then she jumps in when she thinks it's appropriate. And I know who those types are because they'll jump in and they have no idea where the hell I'm at. And they'll be giving me information from like freaking years ago or months ago, and they haven't kept up. And then I get tired of those that jump in every so often and be like, oh, you know, but then some of you I know are busy and you are doing the J juice and you're in my group and you have stuff going on. But I'm telling you, if you want to follow my thought process, go to my YouTube videos. Whatever video you miss that day, you go and watch it on a weekend or whenever it is that you have time. You got to keep up because this information moves freaking fast. And maybe I may say one thing, okay, in one day, and it may change the other day. It just depends on what's going on. But if you're not actively really, even if you're not doing the J juice at the level that you need to, at least keep up on the information. So when you are actually ready to do the J juice, you have all the right information and the most up-to-date information. But no, that's not her purview. She likes hanging out with the activists, with the anti-vaxxers, with the trolls. So remember, birds of a feather flock together. Who you hang out with the most are your friends. No matter how much you say, oh no, I'm a J-juice proponent. I look at mucus as a protective coating so I can regrow my lung, and that's her thing, is that's how she characterizes mucus. And which is what then prompted her to say, oh, maybe you should do the Facebook Lives in the afternoon instead of the morning. No, I'm going to show you guys that mucus has to happen at specific times of the day. And I'm going to normalize it. And I'm going to normalize symptoms too, because symptoms, the body trying to adjust. If you have a whole lot of symptoms on a chronic basis, your body is so weak, it's trying to adjust to even the most conservative environment, not even aggressive environment. Because I'm telling you, if you go to like when I drove cross country lately, like October has been like the nostalgia month, because this is when I met my husband. This is when I started the J Juice. And so I drove from like California, which is relatively cold, but not that cold, okay? I drove from California through all the states in between, all the way to Ohio. And it's freaking cold in Ohio in October back in 2010, okay? And I remember my body trying to adjust, and I had the worst flu cold you can imagine. It was like the worst ever, to where I was coughing so hard, and this was in October, to where I had to curl up in a fetal position to cough because I pulled a muscle in my stomach. It hurt to cough, it hurt to blow my nose, it hurt to do anything. And so yeah, so if I didn't want to cough or blow my nose because it hurt so much, yeah, I was taking medication or whatever it was at that time. And then we went from Ohio to Florida, and I got another flu bug that I was laid up in bed for like, a few days. Okay? And so every single time, if you have a weak body and you're already exposed to viruses, because you always will be exposed to viruses, it's never not going to happen. It's going to happen. And then you go from one environment, aggressive environment, to another, your body's going to adapt. And if you have a weak body, you're going to suffer some major symptoms. Okay? But if you have a relatively strong body, the symptoms that you suffer are very, 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 very benign and superficial and manageable. And it won't take you out of the game. So having symptoms doesn't mean that you're sick and bad and wrong. It's the balance of the type of symptoms and why. And are you aging? That's the specific measurable result. Because symptoms have been characterized as something bad in our society. And they are, because people are constantly freaking dying in our society. So they're making that correlation equals causation, that symptoms equals death. Not necessarily, because symptoms equals life, based upon the trajectory that you're on and what kind of chemistry are you bringing in. So your mentality of being proactive, applying the right chemistry with a preconceived or perceived outcome that you're going to live indefinitely. Because if you think you're going to die, then there's no point in you doing anything to better your life, because you're just going to die anyway. So what's the point? Oh, I just want to prolong my life. What the hell does that mean? Oh, I don't want to die today, but I'm okay with dying 5 days from now. No, you're not. Oh, I'm okay with dying 5 years from now. How are you going to control that if you can't even control your own body at this point? You see how asinine those thought processes are? So your mentality, for you to then realize that you have to adapt, okay? Which means that your mentality has to be such to be able to handle and understand the symptoms, that you're actually on a life trajectory if you apply the right chemistry. Yeah, you'll be on a death trajectory if you apply the wrong chemistry. And chemotherapy and cannabis and detoxes and therapies without the J juice is the wrong chemistry to apply to a body that's desperately trying to heal. I'm going to blow my nose again. Because that's what I do in the morning. And I'm okay. And then throughout the day, I'm pretty much fine. In the evening, I'm just laying in bed on my Facebook, no mucus, no anything, because my body is already adapted to the current environment. It already processed the food from the day before, and it's perfect homeostasis. And then in the morning, my body has to adapt to a new day, a new environment, because yes, I'm going from downstairs or upstairs to downstairs, from inside to outside, from outside to inside, to drinking coffee, to getting on Facebook Live, to then going and walking from here to the bathroom to anywhere else and taking in other stuff. I mean, every single movement you have is an adaptation process, but some have a harder time adapting because they have such a weak body. Some can't even adapt at all because they're paraplegic and quadriplegic. So they're basically atrophied. That's when your body can't even adapt. It's just sitting there. Okay? So I'm not going to allow anyone to demonize mucus. Absolutely not. And those that, okay, so the reason why I deleted that one guy, because of the chemtrails, I got off on a tangent and I totally didn't give you guys the whole thing with that. So this guy goes, he's an old friend on Facebook. He's like, well, there has to be a better way to disperse the minerals. Who says that this way, that whatever they're doing in the skies, who says that isn't a good way? The reason why you characterize a better or good, or you don't like the way ways are being done, is because you have a weak body. If you had a strong body, cannabis and chemotherapy would never ever be anything that you would partake in. So why should you have an opinion over it? If you have a strong body, okay, you're not going to be afraid of anything that looks like it could be poisonous, because you have a strong body and you have common sense, and it wouldn't affect you. So there'd be no reason why you would have an opinion on something. The reason why people have opinions where they characterize good or bad is because they have a weak body, and then they impose and project their weaknesses onto others. And that's what we see in the allopathic holistic world, especially in the therapies and the detox world, where they demonize foods. They demonize corporations. They demonize the environment. They demonize the government. I mean, I'm watching my anti-government friends just completely like try to destroy the education system. If you want to have some kind of law and order in a country where you don't have roving tribes of people who just don't give a crap, you got to have a certain kind of education in our society. Okay? If you want some kind of semblance of order in our society, there has to be a certain group thought. It has to happen. Now, there are ways of where you can manage your own situation without applying the group thought to it, and then that is based upon your knowledge and your intention and outcome. But law and order is paramount in the body, and it's paramount in your society. And if you want death and chaos in your society, then you want death and chaos in your body. I have no room to really hang out with you or agree with you. Okay? And then people have to understand there's a place for everything. There's a place for everything. There's a reason for everything. In our society, we have certain rules and certain laws of what we can and cannot do based upon just what is right. I mean, we don't have a 30-year-old date a 15-year-old, okay? So we have these rules and laws for a reason. And the body has the rules and laws too that you have to adhere to. So it's like, and these are the laws of the land and laws of the body, all right? And so, if you don't understand that you have to have rules and laws in our society, then you're not going to understand changes. If you're anti-government, then you're anti your body. If you are truly anti-government, then you absolutely have no understanding of how your body works, nor want to have your body work in the right way, because you don't understand the reasoning behind everything. There's a reason why things happen. Okay, doesn't mean it excuses people to commit those crimes. And yeah, there are some imbalanced biochemistries that are also very criminal. And some know it, and then some don't care because their biological drive is such to where it's what they do. And so then we have to put these people away. Okay, but there's a reason and a place for everything. Doesn't mean it's excusable in the eyes of the law of the land. But it means that we have to understand there is a place for it all. And then where are you going to partake in those rules and those laws that will still keep law and order, but then you still have autonomy? See, that's where people have to really understand how to come to terms with their place in our society. Where do they need to really take part in the group think, and where they can apply their autonomous behavior. And those that are very sick won't know the difference, and they'll think everything that is a rule or law is bad because they have such chaos within. So I've gotten away from a lot of the chemtrail activists. I've deleted a lot of them off my Facebook. Not everyone. I've deleted a lot off my Facebook because, you know, it's like they don't get it. I delete a lot of anti-vax people that are very, very boisterous on my Facebook. Some will kind of sidewind their intentions. Some will hide it behind some kind of banter. But I know the intention, even though they're being deceptive about what it is they're saying, because they're trying to ingratiate me into their, you know, into their fold, and then still get their point, their politics across. And I know what they're doing, and I don't have patience for that anymore. Okay? I mean, it's fine, you guys have your belief systems, but it doesn't need to come out on my Facebook. I'm not going to follow all of you, behind all of you, and be like, oh my God, you're saying this. But I mean, I'll unfollow if I see something go through my newsfeed and I'm like, dude, this person is still freaking triggered by the chemtrails and the 5G and all, and the anti-vax. Then I'm just going to unfollow. And even though I know they're part of my group, I'm not going to tell them what to say on their Facebook. But if they come on my Facebook inserting their politics, see you later, because you crossed boundaries. So yeah, yesterday I was going off yesterday about the whole thing with mucus, and someone trying to tell me when I should do my Facebook Live so I don't sound mucusy. And this is the same person that I've allowed, and I know that is anti-vax, I know is very anti-government, and she was one of my moderators, and I really was hoping that maybe the J juice would maybe help her and slow her down, and maybe calm her down, maybe change her mind. So I kind of held out for that, but then I realized, you know what, I'm holding out. I can't hold my breath on that. It's all right, John. I'm telling you, just even the biases, okay? Even the biases that I hold, it took me a while. I mean, I was biased against the biohacks that Kevin was putting out there, because I made a correlation that it's like remedies. But biohacks aren't always remedies. But that's, and then I also like tried, and I had a bias against it because it's coming from the healing chakra world. And Kevin caught it. He catches my tone. He holds me accountable sometimes, and I hold him accountable too. And then I realized that even J juice is a biohack on some level, because yeah, I mean, if we were out in the caveman days, we wouldn't have jars, we wouldn't have, you know, access to the salt like we do. We wouldn't have, you know, we probably didn't even have agriculture back then. So, you know, we would just be living from the seat of our pants in the caveman days. But now we have a way to manipulate the elements and harness the elements in the right way without having an outcome of like utter chaos. And so, yeah, J juice is a type of a biohack. So I had to release and come into terms with my own biases. Okay. So, you know, it takes a minute to peel away the layers of biases. And those of you that are on the J juice and still hold some of those biases and some of those anti-governments, I understand it takes a minute to peel back those layers and just allow things be as they, you know, because really, if they really wanted to kill us and wanted to take us over and harm us and whatever, we wouldn't be here. We'd all be gone. We wouldn't have 7 billion people on the planet. But the fact we have 7 billion people on this planet shows that somebody obviously promotes life. They're not killing us all, or we would have 500 million like they want on the Georgia Guidestones. But it's the humans, it's the population that's going to then bring us, if it's actually true, from 7 billion to 500 million, if they don't strengthen their body. And so the J juice gives you that opportunity to strengthen your body, or you end up like the 6 billion 500 million. If that Georgia Guidestones is actually true. But actually, I have a feeling it is true. I think they already know, with the way reproduction is and the way cancer, disease, and chronic illness happens, and then they're seeing the patterns of society of every generation. Because when you think about it, we have 6 living generations, you know, 3 overlap the 3, and then we're seeing the rapid decline of people. And then we're normalizing all the imbalances, where they call them superpowers. Okay? So, you know, you're going to see the next generation become weaker and weaker and weaker. And then viruses are getting stronger because they're running through so many different bodies, and then bodies are getting weaker. Yeah, you're going to see people drop like flies. So it's going to be a self-fulfilling prophecy. So they're probably just already seeing the patterns of the human body. Maybe they already ran through the mice, because no, mice have a shorter lifespan than humans. So it's easy to test on mice, and then you just equate the mice lifespan to the human lifespan, and then do all these different experiments. And they can see that after 3 or 4 generations, that genetic line is gone. So that's why we have human experiments and mice and animal experiments, because they can actually test and see really what the future is going to hold for humanity just by simply testing it on a mouse, because of their lifespan is like maybe 1 or 2 years, if that, depending upon, you know, the situation. So when you inject mice with a bunch of cancer viruses, okay, and then you have them procreate, and then the baby comes out with some superpower, right? And then they try to then go and procreate that baby, and then that next generation has another superpower. And then finally, that next genetic line can't procreate anymore. So maybe they've already tested out on the mice where humanity is going, and then that was easy for them to go and put on the Georgia Guidestones. Well, you know, we're going to go from 7 billion to 500 million, because we have people procreate on bodies that create weaker children, and then those children create weaker children and weaker children, and then guess what? That genetic line is gone. And that's where extinction, and that's where they say they have to guide reproduction carefully, because right now we're basically extincting, we are basically creating situations to cause extinction. Okay? So they can pretty much map out the future of humans through a mouse. That ought to tell you a lot. Okay, why we have biotech? Because they can see the future. All you got to do is just find an animal that has relatively the same characteristics that we have, another mammal with a shorter lifespan, and you can watch them as if you're watching a human go through its 50, 60, 70 years. So yeah, I mean, they have mice that have been injected with certain viruses that then create autism. They have mice that have injected with stuff that create certain cancers and tumors and whatever. And then they have them procreate, and they see how that offspring act, and if they're able to reproduce. And at some point, they're not able to reproduce. So that's how they're able to see. That's why they do then all these different types of interventions. But at some point, even those interventions are not going to be very effective. Okay? You know, you can only get so many interventions before the body says, hey, I'm too weak to deal with all these interventions at some point. And that person is going to be then sterile, because they won't have the environment to be able to bring an actual viable human being, because it's that messed up. And so that's kind of the future for humanity if we don't now do something different, which is now finally taking in the right chemistry. Because if we left back to the caveman days, none of you guys would be alive. None of you. Your kids wouldn't be alive. You wouldn't be alive. The fact that we have modern medicine and biotech and the government says that they actually want you to live. So then all you anti-government people, anti-whatever, are now like, so what's your excuse now? You're here because of the vaccines and the biotech. So then what are you railing against? Oh, you're railing against yourself because you lack control. And then I also was really just incensed about the different, we have so many different religions and spirituality and everything. And I've already gone through the verbiage, how like Jesus and God and life and prophets and hormones and biochemistry are all the kind of the same thing. And so, you know, I see my friends who are all spiritual, but they don't like organized religion or mega churches, just slamming the people who are Christian. But I also see the Christians and the Catholics and all the different religions slamming other people that don't believe in Jesus or don't believe in this or that, right? And so I'm like, you know, you have to realize that we're all the same. We all want to live. There is no religion or spirituality or belief system that says that people should just die today. Because if that's the case, then that's person's mental illness and they want to commit suicide, or they're one of those that are the shooters out there that we put away in jail because of mental illness. But every single religion out there that keeps procreating wants to live. So why bash those that don't believe in saying life in the way that you say life? So you say Jesus, they say spirituality, they say, I don't know, ascension or something else. They say all these different things. And I'm just like, what has caused so much division and death in our society is the lack of tolerance of how someone characterizes life and death. Because really, a Christian and an atheist or an astrologist who believes in death at the end are no different. It's just how you characterize and explain life and death. It's just different words. That's the only difference. But you believe the same thing. You believe people should die, but you want to live for a few years and talk about your journey to death. Okay, fine. It doesn't mean that your Jesus way is the right way. It doesn't mean that your ascension, chakra, healing, crystals, astrology is the right way. It's just the way in which you express your belief in life and death. Okay. But what if we all believe that we should live indefinitely? Then all the labels and the demonization of other cultures and other religions fall away. And then you realize that you guys are actually one of the same. You're no different. You have 11 different systems. You bleed the same. It's like, and you want to live indefinitely because you are really, truly pro-life. Not pro-life like, I'm for the babies, but I'm going to let my grandma, my mother die. That's okay with me. And I see that. The hypocrisy. When someone says, oh yeah, you know, I mean, I believe that people should live, we should eat organic and play with crystals and do ayahuasca and do all this stuff. And then they are okay with ascending to another plane, another dimension, and meeting all their alien friends, hanging out with people who have really long blonde hair and look Nordic. Okay? So, I mean, both of those two different belief systems, the ascension artists and the Christians who believe people should die, are no different. But what if you found a common ground that you all want to live and you actually lived consistently with that belief system in every aspect of your life, not just politically, not just, oh yeah, I do all these quotes and scriptures of Proverbs and this and that, but you know, but I'm okay with the people dying of cancer, disease, and chronic illness and dealing with all this stuff. No, it's being consistent in your belief system, and that will translate in every aspect of your life, not just the parts that you feel that, you know, that you only want to be consistent in. It's in everything. And then, yeah, you're going to then have your friends be like, what the heck? Why are you embracing this astrology person? Why are you hanging out with this kind of person? Yeah, you'll lose some of your anti-government friends because you're now realizing that maybe the friends that you have are really promoting the death trajectory. Remember, you are who you hang out with. So if you say you're on J-Juice, but you're hanging out with people who are all into the death process and all into anti-government stuff, all into just all the tawdry things in life, then you are what you hang out with. I mean, if it walks like a duck, it talks like a duck. Okay? I mean, really, it's like you got to pay attention to what you say and what you do. And if they're not aligned, I'd rather be mostly on my own than hang out with people who are all into the death trajectory and the death process. Okay? And so if I do hang out with someone that has that kind of, then we have there's something that is mutually beneficial on both ends that keep the common ground going. But I'll tell you what, people that hang out in the J-Juice world, okay, and they don't bring in all of their politics, and they are a continuous like presence, and they exemplify well balance, then yeah, I really see that they are aligned with their body, mind, and spirit, and maybe not 100%, but they're really attempting, and they're on their way. They're not justifying playing all of these discrimination games. And so that's why I've never had any. Yeah, I mean, John, I mean, if you feel the hypocrisy, if you feel hypocrisy in your body around certain people, then you're gonna chill out and you're gonna just stay with your like kind. I mean, the J juice is really going to now have you find the people that you truly want to be aligned with. Because let me tell you, when you are reversing your aging process, like I know I am, I feel and look different. I woke up after that headache yesterday or the day before or whatever. I'm telling you, I woke up in the morning, I looked different. I looked different. And I don't say that every morning. I'm like, oh man, I look horrible this morning. But these last couple mornings, and I don't sleep like straight through the night. I mean, you may see me throughout the night. I'm intermittently going on Facebook just to check and see stuff and then go back off. Thanks, John. But yeah, you're going to be on this earth with people that that are on the same path, and they're going to be around, because I'm telling you, most of your friends are going to be gone. Okay? Those of you that are doing J juice just a little bit, whatever, you're going to be gone with them. And so you really got to be friends with people who are going to be around for the long haul. Okay? You really want to be connected to those that are around for the long haul, because I'm telling you, your friends are going to drop like flies around you, and they're going to take you down with them, because when someone's in a death trajectory, they are spewing out stuff that harms the body, mind, and spirit. And then some people absorb that, and then it undermines their healing process. And then they're going to see the train has left the station where they have a cancer, disease, and chronic illness that is now way taking over, and they try to do the J juice, and it's just too painful. And then guess what? They give up, because they allowed those many years of somebody else's death trajectory impact and undermine what they say their life purpose is to live. But maybe they really believe that people should die. And so J juice really isn't something that they resonate with. Because I'm telling you, actions speak louder than words. And so I left that transmission between myself and Lorraine Kennedy. I'm going to say her name. I think it's in my group or on my Facebook. I forget which. But we had a very long thread where I'm finally saying, you know what? I'm done. This relationship we have is over with. You want to hang out with the trolls and bring in their perspective into my group, you're not welcome. You're not doing J juice at the level that you need to. And you're hanging out with the trolls so much to where it now is coloring your perception, and you're not following me. And so you're missing all of the good information because you're so distracted with trying to debate with the trolls and with your activism and all that stuff. And then I have friends that are demonizing other people's religions or trying to sound like, oh yeah, their religion is so much better, they're so much better. When you're not, if you still believe people should die. But if you believe people should live, then you realize that you find people that have something in common. And then you don't even worry about those that don't believe in Jesus or believe in Jesus, okay? Because you are taking care of your life. You realize how much you cannot control out there. You cannot control all of the crimes that are out there. And so, yeah, I mean, I see people that are posting all this stuff about animals being abused and child trafficking and all of these horrible things that happen in our society. And I'm just like, dude, how much of that stuff can you feel in your head on a daily basis and how can you heal when you're always filling your head with this stuff? Your friends are either going to lift you up or take you down. And if you are always promoting such negative stuff in our society, there's no way you're going to heal on the J juice. There's no way J juice can really compete with that. There's no freaking way. And so, yeah, I see it all the time. So yeah, when someone hangs out with the trolls so much, there's no way I can compete with that. That person's already done with. They're gone. If you try to sell J juice to people, then you've completely missed the point. Not everybody can do J juice, because not everybody has that intestinal fortitude to deal with the pain and to actually do behavioral changes and maybe change the people they hang out with and maybe get away from all the really crappy things that fill your head with such crappy stuff. Okay? I got away from groups that are, I still see, the people that are fearful of the chemtrails and fearful, and I see some of my newsfeed and I have to unfollow stuff, but I see it like, intermittently and all that. And some of it just, I just kind of keep up for a minute, but I don't post it, but I do kind of like see it. And it reminds me that there's still a lot of work to be done out there. And so that's what then incentivizes me to get on Facebook Live every single day and pound this information in your head so you get it. So that way it doesn't, that stuff out there, those distractions of politics and religion and spirituality, as far as people's perspectives, doesn't distract you from the goal that you want to live, you want your kids to live, you want to live. But how do you live when you're being constantly, you know, barraged with all of that death trajectory stuff? So it's just one of my revelations, my observations, and take from it what you will. But, you know, I have no problem blowing my nose on Facebook. I have no problem being mucusy if I need to. I went through a major adaptation upgrade the other day because I was exposed to a virus that on a lesser of a person, they would have succumbed with all of the symptoms, like major symptoms. And all I got was just, I need to lay low. I blew my nose a few times, had a bit of a headache, tiny headache, nothing crazy. And I pooped and I peed a lot. Okay? So that was it. That was the extent of my exposure to any virus, to any upgrade to my body. Because every single exposure to a bacteria, a virus, minerals is an upgrade to a strong body, but it will be a degradation to a weak body because you already sustained imbalances. And that's how you have to look at it. So there's only two absolutes, life and death. You're either on a life trajectory, and then everything you do is consistent with life, not just paying lip service to one or two things in your life, but it's consistent in every aspect of your life. Like really holding yourself accountable. Okay, and then people are sometimes on a death trajectory, which means that they have misalignment in their body, mind, and spirit. They say one thing, but they do another. They say, oh yeah, I'm on the JJs, but I hang out with trolls. The trolls of JJs. So I know where your loyalties lie. It's with the trolls. It's not with the JJs. Or you'd be actually a great testimony, a great exemplification of well-balanced. You'd be ignoring, not trying to sell the trolls into stuff. And then not trying to tell me how I should conduct my Facebook Live so I'm not so mucusy. Because that really pissed me off. So, and you can see me going off on her because I then use swear words. I don't normally use swear words unless someone really, really triggered me and they crossed the line. Okay? It happens occasionally. If it happened all the time, then it means I have people that have no boundaries in my life and I hadn't set boundaries. But when occasionally I let one slip in because I'm trying to give somebody the benefit of the doubt, it bites me in the ass. But that's what I knew it. But I mean, when I have red flags about a person, I know eventually they're going to say something that's going to really, you know, cross the line, and then I'll put my foot down. But yeah, when I get triggered, it's been a long time coming because I've given them many chances. Okay? Because I do have hope for all of you that one day you'll get on the J-Juice and I will see an amazing testimony. And I will see an amazing change in you, an amazing change in your political posts, amazing change in every aspect, every demeanor, everything. And then some, I will see the same continuous behavior. Yeah, okay. It says a lot. All right. I'll talk to you later. Bye.